I know you've been with us over the last few hours as we've been getting some more details from what's going on in Davos. We saw from the presentation there that as far as the board is concerned, it's going to be, it's filled with gleaming buildings and huge opportunities, apparently, for the people of Gaza, but also for investors as well. Not a lot of mention of what's going to happen with regard to Israel's involvement and connection with all this, both civilian and military. Secondly, no mention at all of a Palestinian state. What are your thoughts?
Rob, I mean, in an ideal world, what Palestinians would have expected, and the majority of the globe as well, because the entire world has watched this genocide evolving for almost 2 years. The first thing, what would you expect is justice and achieving justice through the international mechanisms we know. I mean, we have a prime minister that is on a wanted list by the ICC, ICJ, an entire Israeli military, a political apparatus that has been involved in this genocide. But again, this has been totally disregarded from the discussion. And again, ideally, what would Palestinians have expected is a UN mechanism run by the international community, the entire international community, in charge of this reconstruction process and also investing in the political process to bring an end to the entire conflict. Not a country per se that has been involved in supporting Israel to commit this genocide, which is the US. But again, I mean, from a very pragmatic perspective, that's a new reality. These are the limits of powers and wishes as well. So the world has to engage with this window of opportunity, if I want to call it this way. So indeed, one has to worry that this mindset behind this Board of Peace is a very corporate, business-led mindset that totally disregards even the basic principles on solving complicated conflicts such as the Palestinian-Israeli one, where there is totally disregard for colonial legacy, for occupation legacy, which is still persistent because Israel is still practicing these issues on the ground. The principles of state-nation building post-conflict and war, which involves with reconciliation, justice, identity, freedoms, civil rights. All these things have been disregarded as if the problem originally was lack of infrastructure and fancy buildings, etc. So that's the mindset we're dealing with. However, one also has to acknowledge and recognize that the situation in Gaza is very dire. And that, yes, Gazans cannot wait for nothing to happen, for this paralysis, and they should engage with this opportunity. And this is where we see an opportunity stemming from the fact that there are many regional actors involved in this process, particularly Gulf countries, Arab countries, and they are really behind it this time, putting pressure on Trump.
Well, one of the key elements, let's stick with the pragmatism element of this. One of the key points in this, of course, is the timeline. Because if I understand it correctly, we were talking before we came on air that you were telling me that, or reminding me that this was done under the aegis of the UN. There is a 2-year timeline for this transitional council. And there's going to be a lot of speculation. Jared Kushner, a lot of his slides were saying, oh, by 2035, we're going to have this. Over a 10-year period, we're going to have this. How do you see this working out? How do you see this transition being managed longer term?
Well, my understanding, and also many Palestinian stakeholders understand this as this peace council as a transitional one with a limited mandate. So basically, it will focus on initiating reconstruction and preparing the ground for then elections and then merging the Palestinian Authority structures to create a Palestinian state. And it also, these are the aspirations. And we can see these explicitly written in Trump's 20-point peace plan. If you look at the last 3 points on it, there is a commitment to a Palestinian statehood as well. And the U.S. is committed to even initiate dialogue between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Now, the understanding is that this has to happen in parallel with the initiation of reconstruction process, not wait for reconstruction and then focus on the political path or process. So for it to be successful, it has to be, first of all, genuine. Maybe President Trump has a genuine interest to establish this legacy or to create this legacy of a peacemaker in this turbulent region. And if this happens, his commitment plus the commitment and the pressure from these stakeholders, be it the countries involved in the council, then maybe there is hope. But if not, then it's just a another wasted opportunity.
I want to ask you about what Hashim was referring to earlier on, which was the statement that was made by the head of the National Committee for the Administration of Gaza, Ali Shaath. Now, it's worth remembering he is a very experienced politician and diplomat. He's also from Khan Yunis. He is a rare Gaza voice on this so-called master plan. Now, during this presentation, we did hear from him, and this is what he said about the fact that the Rafah crossing with Egypt is going to open soon, but he hasn't offered too many details about what that's going to mean for Palestinians.
I am pleased to announce the Rafah crossing will open next week in both directions. For Palestinians in Gaza, Rafah is more than a gate. It is a lifeline.
Now, Hashim was telling us that this was a very significant moment that we heard from Ali Shaath in this. I understand that you know him. The way that he has couched that statement is a very, it's a very apolitical statement. It's quite a dry statement. What's your assessment of where he stands and how much influence he can bring?
Ali Shaath and the rest of the members of the Gaza committee are all technocrats, basically. This committee, just to make it clear, has no political mandate whatsoever. It has been endorsed by Palestinian political parties, including the Hamas and Fatah, as a technocrat committee. So it lacks the political voice for sure. So it has a very limited mandate. These figures are all respected figures inside Gaza and among the Palestinian community. But everyone understands that their mandate is very limited to the bureaucratic, technocratic, operational aspects of reconstructions. But of course, the big question is, who's going to control the access of goods and services into Gaza? Who's going to control the movement of people in and out? Will Israel be a sabotager as it used to be? Because it still holds and controls 52% of Gaza's territories. Will Israel be accountable? So there are so many big questions to be answered yet. And it's yet to be seen how genuine this effort is, and especially Trump's personal involvement in making it successful.
It's good to get your thoughts on this, Tamer Qarmout. As always, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.